Good morning. Welcome to the 86th Annual Missions Conference Chapel. My name is Kim Schwar. I am the Missions Conference Assistant. And this is our staff. To kick off this morning and this incredible week, I want to explain first, before we get into the theme and the session layout and all that, a little bit where we're coming from in this so you guys know. As you may know, Student Missionary Union, or SMU, exists to motivate and mobilize students to align their lives towards the completion of the Great Commission. So in working towards this goal, SMU hosts an annual missions conference. This is an isolated 3-day opportunity for the Holy Spirit to work towards doing just that, towards aligning the students of hearts towards the Great Commission. So we train and inspire students throughout this event to seek out local and global missions and ministries. So in March, our two fabulous directors who will be up here soon, Alex Middleton and Amber White, were hired March of 2014, so a year ago. A couple weeks later, they hired me, the assistant. In September, we hired 12 coordinators to head up the 6 missions conference departments. So we've got, exciting. We've got interactions, global awareness, sessions, logistics, prayer and worship, and marketing and hospitality. In October, they hired a staff of over 70 dedicated team members. And since then, we have all been working as a team of about 90 to put this together. During Missions Conference, over 200 volunteers, students, are going to be putting their time in. So there's a lot of work and a lot of planning and a lot of you guys' work. So we're really thankful for that. That's going to this conference. So considering all of that, it has been a year-long process, and it has been a humbling experience. The Lord has been speaking into our lives in preparation and has been cultivating a passion for this event and for everything that takes place in it. So we would really look forward to what the Holy Spirit's going to be doing in your hearts and in our hearts too. So before Alex and Amber come up here and explain the MC 2015 theme and session layout, let me take you through a few logistics of the conference. Let me answer the questions I know that you guys have been waiting to ask. 2 of Biola students' favorite topics: conference credit and social media. So you as Biola students, I'm sure you know, are required to receive 8 conference credits during this week. So you can do that in a few ways. You can get 1 credit for each of the following things. So we have 3 main sessions each day. For you who are freshmen who haven't been here, it works a lot like Tori. So 3 main sessions, 1 at 9 o'clock in the morning, 1 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 at 7 o'clock at night. Those are each worth 1 credit. And then we have seminars, 2 each day. We have 1 at 11 o'clock in the morning and 1 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And our Friday, so each of those are worth 1 credit. And our Friday morning session at 9 o'clock still is longer, so that'll be 2 credits. So a little extra incentive to stay till Friday. Another way you can get credit is by going through our global awareness, which is the incredible interactive experience set up over in McNally classrooms way back on the other side of campus, where you get to experience the hurts and pains of different countries around the world as you go through there. And you can get a credit from that, though, contrary to popular belief, you cannot get 1 each time you go through. You can only get 1 during the conference. So please do not send emails saying, I went through 3 times and I need 3 credits. You just get 1. But go through as many times as you want. It's going to be incredible. Seriously. So that is credit. If you, for some reason, don't see a credit show up and it's been like 20 minutes after the thing, that's normal. Give us 24 hours. If you still don't see a credit show up, then you can email. So that email is mc.credit@biola.edu. They will be happy to answer your questions and figure out how to get you your credit, but please give them a little time to process it. Otherwise, they're completely flooded. So all of this information will be available on our website, which will be biolamissionsconference.com, and that will be released right after this chapel. So that's exciting. Get ready for that. I know, huh? So now we have social media. There's a couple ways you can get in touch with us, or you can follow the events and updates that are happening. So we have Twitter. The conference Twitter handle is @BiolaMissions. So we'd love for you guys to follow that, tag that. You could get retweeted. It's a great way to interact with all the things that are happening. Another way is on Instagram. You can follow and tag SMU Biola, and you'll get to see a lot of things that are happening. We'll also have, through Instagram, we'll have a contest. If you do our hashtag, which will be introduced later, then you can have the chance to win a prize. We'll be choosing 3 of the best Instagram pictures each day of conference with our hashtag. So that is all I have for you. Now we're gonna watch a great little intro video to our conference before Alex and Amber come up and talk to you about our theme. So let's watch that.
I am light. Life. The Good Shepherd. I am the resurrection. I am the way. I am forgiveness, mercy, love, hope. I am the true vine. I am the King. I came before. I will come again. I am the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. I am greater.
Hi, my name is Amber White.
Hi, I'm Alex Middleton, and we are this year's Missions Conference directors. Thanks. So, as you saw in that video, our word this year is greater. And so to get started this morning, if you'll close your eyes, we're going to read our vision for this week. So close your eyes right now.
We are disciples, but who are we disciples of? We understand what a disciple does, but if we're honest with ourselves, do we know why we're disciples of Jesus Christ? It is scary to think that so often we are way more familiar with what Christians are supposed to do instead of knowing who made us to do those things in the first place. Who is the great I am? Who is this holy God who has called us into this great adventure? What does it look like to understand our calling? As Christians, we cannot know our calling until we understand and personally know the one who created us. Our lives are meant to be spent in fellowship with our Father and living out his great adventure for us. Who do we think we are? This life is not about us.
If our lives are not about us, instead are meant to be walked out in freedom, then why are we still afraid? Why do we not go out with the authority of our God who raised his Son from the grave? The fullness of God is upon us. This is our time to go and complete the task laid out before us by Jesus Christ. What does it even mean to go? Our lives are but a second compared to eternity. So how do we navigate life, even in the mundane, with heaven as our goal? This is what we want to explore this school year at Missions Conference. Ultimately, we want you to walk away loving Jesus more. We want you to know that our lives are not about us. We want each and every one of you to experience the great I am, and from that knowledge be compelled to be a part of completing the Great Commission wherever you are at. This means redefining what missions is and understanding that it is a lifestyle, not an event. As a result, we want you, Biola, as a community to walk in the freedom and authority of Jesus Christ now and for the rest of your lives until every ear has heard and every tongue has confessed. We have been called by the great I am to do great things. You can open your eyes. So that is just a vision of what we want this week to look like. As you saw in the video and what we just read, our word is greater. And our catchphrase is compelled by the I am to live missionally. And so in these next few moments, Amber and I want to explain what this theme means, explain what we've been building this whole conference around for the past year, and also to explain what the sessions are going to look like for the next week. So last year at conference, we focused on what are disciples and why are we disciples? But this year we want to take a step back from that and say, who are we disciples of in the first place? Who is this great I am? Who is this God? Who is our Heavenly Father that we serve, that our whole lives are revolved around? And Biola, I don't want you to check out because you say, I already know this, I already know the truths about God. Because this is something, Amber and I have been praying about this since last summer, and this is what God wants for this conference. This is what the heart of our theme is. And so session 1 on Wednesday morning, our first speaker, Henry Joseph, he's a pastor in Mississippi and a pastor in South Africa, understands the global church in amazing ways. But he's going to start off and talk about who is God? Who is he? He's going to start with Isaiah 61, 1 through 11, that lists all these characteristics and attributes of who God is. He anoints people, he binds up the brokenhearted and sets captives free. He does all these things, and so Henry's gonna dive into more of who God is as a father. And then we don't only wanna focus on things about God, we wanna emphasize the importance of knowing him and being in his presence, not just talking about things about God, but talking directly to him. And so Henry's also going to talk about Exodus 3, when God appears to Moses as the burning bush and says, I am who I am. He gives a name to himself and tells Moses who he is. And he'll continue on in Exodus 19 when Moses acts as this mediator between the Israelites at the bottom of Mount Sinai and between God, who's indwelling at the top of Mount Sinai. And Moses has this amazing role of meeting face to face with God on the top of the mountain. And God tells him not only who he is, but he tells Moses, because of who I am, this is who you are. And that's what we want the focus to be on, is spending that time face to face with God. And then Moses walks down and delivers all of those things, tells people about God through himself. But because of Jesus Christ and because of his life, death, and resurrection, we don't have to go through anyone. No one has to mediate. Like, we ourselves are Moses. We can walk up the mountain and meet face to face with God. And that's the beauty of what Jesus did for us. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in the first session. This will move into the second session on Wednesday afternoon. Ed Stetzer is our second speaker, and he will be talking more about who God is, but more specifically what he does. And so in 2 Corinthians 5, Jesus talks about this ministry of reconciliation, about how he's always calling us back to himself. Like, that's what he does. And Ed's also going to be talking about Philippians 2, 9 through 11, this vision of what's going to come in the future where every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. And so Ed's going to combine this idea of, okay, now that you've spent time face to face with God, he's not only going to tell you who he is, but he's going to tell you who you are, because we're created in his image. And so the only way we'll have confidence and know who we are, and this boldness only comes from spending time face to face with him, not hearing from someone else what he is like. And so the third session of Wednesday night, my dear friend Bianca Olthoff from the A21 campaign will be speaking on what does it look like to walk in freedom. So once we know more, have a greater understanding of who God is, and then have a greater understanding of who we are because of that, what does it look like to walk in freedom? Why are we still afraid? What things are holding you back? And so Bianca's going to spend that night session saying, okay, what does it look like to walk in freedom? And in John 14, Jesus promises that we will do even greater works than he. And so Bianca's going to explore this idea of freedom. And it's been amazing this semester to see just how God has been so faithful through this theme. We could have never foreseen Joy's death in January. But her story is so amazing because the night before she died, she experienced true freedom, and she was released from her insecurities, and it's just an amazing story of freedom. And that's what God intends for each of you. He intends for you to walk in freedom, to not be held back by anything. And so Wednesday night, we want to explore what that will look like.
So as you can see, we've broken up the 2 different days of conference with, first off, the theology of who is God. The second day is going to be the more practical side of what this conference is about. And so the first session on Thursday morning, we have a local pastor. His name is Matt Brown. And he's going to be coming and sharing with us what it looks like to walk in freedom because of who the I Am is. In Biola, missional living and missions will never take place if we don't know who God is. If we don't know who God is, then we don't know who we are. Therefore, missions will never happen. And so that's why we want Matt Brown to come and share on John 15, 1 through 17, which is abiding in the vine. If we're not abiding in God and we're not abiding on the vine, we will never bear fruit, and missions is never going to take place. And so that's what we want him to come and talk about. We've asked him to come and straight up preach the gospel. And I know that many of you have heard the gospel, you hear it in your Bible classes, you know the gospel, but do you really know who God is? So we want to take it a step back and go to the basics and the foundation of all these things that we think we know, but do we really understand it on a deep, deep, heart-changing level? And so that's what Matt is going to talk about, this knowledge of the I Am provoking change. The second session on Thursday is going to be by Steve Haas. He's from World Vision, and he's going to come share with us this invitation that every single one of us have been invited into this story. It's not just for the ICS majors, it's not just for the missionaries, but every single one of us as believers has been called into this great adventure. And that's why our word is greater, starting with who is our great God? From there, who does that make us? And what greatness has been thrust upon us? What does that look like to walk in the fullness of God? And from there, leading us to this great adventure. As believers, Biola, we are called to be a part of this great story. We're going to have Steve talk about Matthew 28, and we're going to go all the way back to verse 17 instead of verse 18, talk about the authority. The therefore is contingent, or the second part of Matthew 28 is contingent on the therefore, because before that, it talks about the authority that Jesus Christ has. So everything that we do is because of who Jesus is. So we're going to take it back and remind ourselves of these things and remind ourselves of who God is. It's also very important that you guys know that this Great Commission is not a choice. This Great Commission is a command. That's what we want to invite you guys into. And the Great Commission is going to be different for every single one of us, but that's what we want to explore this missions conference. The last session, Thursday night, Ed Stetzer once again is going to come back, and he's going to share on what it looks like to be compelled. What does it look like to be compelled by the great I Am to move and take missional living seriously? He's going to be talking about Colossians 1, 9 through 20. And this passage just sums up everything Alex and I have been saying, from the beginning of who is God, the creator of all things, to we have been made new, we are new creations. Therefore, we can be bold. We don't have to let the things of this world hold us back, such as, like Alex was saying, shame and sin and guilt and insecurities. We can walk in boldness because of who God is. And then leading into the ministry of reconciliation, which all of us have been called into. The seventh session, which is going to be on Friday, which you get 2 credits for if you stick around. Henry Joseph is going to come back and summarize our entire conference from beginning to end of who is God. Because of who God is, who are we? And what does it look like to walk in the fullness of God? And then from there, what is this great adventure all about? What is our great call? And how do we move? And Biola, Alex and I's heart behind this is to invite every single one of you into this. We have redefined what missions is, because missions is not just global, even though that is very important. The culmination isn't going to happen until every ear is heard and every tongue has confessed that Jesus is Lord. But most of you, let's be realistic, you're not going to go overseas. And that's what we want to bring it back, that missional living is so much more than going overseas. We met with DBC in the beginning of the year, and something he said that was so profound that I think made our theme just so real is that this theme humbles the proud. And it says, you're only great because of who God is. There's nothing great about you because the story is not about you. And then it encourages and uplifts the insecure and says, you are so great because of who God is. And that's what we want to accomplish this year at Missions Conference, that it's not about us. It never will be about us. It never was about us. But this theme is about who God is. And like Alex said, you guys go to Biola, you know this. This is some fundamental truths to what we believe, but we want to remind ourselves of who God truly is. What are his attributes? What are his characteristics? Something Alex and I have done this year is we have simplified the seminars. The first day, there's 4 seminars. The second day, there's 5. And our purpose behind this is that you're going to leave these sessions and walk into these seminars, and they're going to just dissect these same topics more and more. And so our heart behind it is that you're going to learn specific characteristics of who God is. You're going to learn what it looks like to walk in the fullness of God, that you've been set free and you've been made holy and you are righteous and you're loved and you're all these things. Because Biola, if we understood that, our lives would look different. So what's holding us back? Why aren't we set free? That is just some of the questions that we want to answer this year at Missions Conference and take a step back and walk you through just the understanding of who our great God actually is. So now Alex is going to explain some of our new events we have this year.
Yeah, so this year, for our global awareness rooms, we are partnering with short-term missions, the trips that are going out this summer. So like Kim explained earlier, global awareness rooms are over in the middle school buildings, and it's just a space that you can see the hurts and injustices in countries around the world. And so this year, each of the 4 rooms are going to represent the 4 short-term trips going out this summer. So there's a room for Turkey, for India, for Sweden, and for Spain. And so each of these rooms are going to represent these countries, places that fellow Biola students are going to be going to. And so these people are committing to go to these places, but we want you to commit to pray for these places. So go over, see those rooms, see what's happening in those countries, and know how to specifically pray for those places. Also, if you want to support them financially, at the marketplace this year, which is by the fountain, each of the teams are going to have a table with their t-shirts, and so they're going to be selling those, and so you can buy those t-shirts.
The other events we've kind of changed a little bit is our interactions with our missionaries. This year at conference, we have 75 missions organizations coming to represent themselves. That's really great. It's so awesome. We're so excited. And we want you guys to be intentional about engaging with these missionaries. They have come from all over the country, and they have come to share just a bit about their organization with you. They're not trying to convince you to come to their organization necessarily, but to share with you what God is doing all over the world. It's so awesome. And so something new we've done this year is instead of the tent and kind of neglecting them, we have put them in the center of campus, all down Biola walkway. So from Crowell all the way to Sutherland, our 75 missionaries, we have several churches coming, are going to be lined up all the way. Something else we've done, we have actually divided them into categories for you guys. I know it's overwhelming when you see these missions organizations, but we've done them in categories such as unreached people groups, medical missions. There's about 6 other ones. And so we really want you guys to take the time to go and engage with these missionaries. Another event we have planned is our ice cream social. This is going to be Wednesday afternoon after the second session. And so we're giving the missionaries just time and space away from the booth to engage with you guys. So we really encourage you, go leave the session after Ed has preached on just who God is and what he's doing, and go share some ice cream with our missionaries. It's going to be great. They want to talk to you. And Biola, they have stories to tell. They have seen God move in ways that we can't even imagine. So I encourage you, ask them the questions. Ask them what their story's all about and how the I Am has changed their life. And our last event with our missionaries is our missionary luncheon. And so we're doing this this year. On Thursday, we've taken over the CAF, and so we're going to set up all the organizations on tables with centerpieces. And so when you walk into the CAF, you're going to see a directory. And the directory is going to have all the organizations numbered from 1 to 75. So you get to choose. You get to choose which organization you go eat lunch with. And so just sit, converse, have a great time, eat some lunch. It's going to be super great. So yeah, we're excited to see how our missionary interactions turn out.
Yeah. Two more things, and then I promise we'll be done. The first thing, this year we're having a post-conference event. This is something new this year, and so it's going to be 2 weeks from now, on Thursday, March 26th, right back here in the gym at 9:30, and you get chapel credit. And the band, which is for all seasons, is going to come back and play at that. And so it's a chance to just check on where you are. It's a night to debrief, whether you have already forgotten this theme. It's a night to remember what we're going to talk about this week. And if you're still processing stuff, it's a great place that will provide space and time for you to continue processing what's going to happen this week. Because it's really important to Amber and I that this isn't just a 3-day event. We want this theme to be a lifestyle and something that changes in your hearts. And then the final thing is today is the second day of a 5-day fast that we're doing. Last night we didn't sleep in our beds, and today we're not wearing shoes. We're going to take ours off again when we get off the stage. And so if you want to join us in that, we'll be passing out fasting cards when you leave. And the purpose of this is just to prepare our hearts. We expect great things to happen this week, and we wait in expectancy to see what God's going to do. And so that fast is to take the reliance and trust off of these things that we put all of our trust and focus on and say, Lord, you're our source of strength.
We hope you enjoyed this message. Biola University offers a variety of biblically centered degree programs, ranging from business to ministry to the arts and sciences. Learn more at biola.edu.